Hi, I'm Brooke. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you about the time I heard a voice and it was correct. Actually, I heard a voice two times, but I'm going to tell you about both times. And yeah, it ended up panning out. And if you're new to my channel, let me remind you that I'm like regular chick that like all of a sudden all this stuff started happening to me, awakening process, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm just sharing these stories here to if there's other people like me that starting to open up to all this stuff and having these experiences, or maybe you've been having these experiences since you can remember, and you just like to connect and hear about it and talk about it. Everybody's welcome. So, so today I'm going to talk about hearing voices and what I think happened. I'll give you my theory. Um, and first, I'm going to tell you a bit about me. I'm a fine art photographer. This is my some of my artwork. I'm in my gallery in Manhattan Beach, California, and my art is very colorful, textural, and I focus on just being in the present moment, enjoying what's right in front of you. I'll put a link to my website in the description. Also, some of you have asked to talk to me. I've talked to some of you, booked appointments. I opened up like a one-on-one option. You can book half an hour or an hour. And yeah, I've talked to a few people and it's been super fun. So if you want to talk to me, if you want to ask me either questions about my experiences or you want to share your experiences, you just want someone to talk to and someone who's going to believe you, that's me. And yeah, it seems like the people I've connected with so far, it's like they're opening up to new possibilities and want to put a toe in. So I love that. Or if you're a photographer and you have questions about growing a business, I love that too. So it's an ask me anything kind of thing. I'll put a link to that as well. Okay, so hearing voices. So I'll tell you about the first time it happened. So I was walking in my neighborhood and all of a sudden I heard a voice say, "Look behind you." And it sounded like almost like a computerized voice. Like it didn't sound quite human, but it was very clear. And so I turned behind me and there were two kids on scooters like coming at me. I mean, I feel like I don't think they would have hit me, but they were definitely like on the sidewalk heading towards me. And what's interesting, when I turned around, there was a girl and a guy. The girl didn't even notice me. The guy looked surprised. This is important. I'll come back to that. So when that happened, this was like early on in my awakening experience, and I was still getting used to things. And so my first thought was, oh, there must be a button on the scooter that's like warns people or something. Like that's my logical mind went, oh, but like I knew some part of me knew that wasn't true. Like the voice was like in my head or inside of me, or it wasn't like an external voice, I guess you could say. Um, but I gave myself this explanation and kind of wrote it off. And then a few blocks later, I see the scooters like discarded on the like on a lawn. And so I picked one up and like looked for the button. And of course, there was no button. It's just then I started to get like weirded out because I was like, what? Like, did I hear a voice? Like I couldn't, it was really strange sensation, but it was undeniable. It was a very clear voice and it said something very specific and it was accurate. And so since then, many things have happened to me. And so now I accept these things. And so what's interesting is a couple years later, after opened up to a lot of this stuff, um, I was in that same like a few blocks from there. There's a few things that have happened to me in like in that radius. It's like a 5 block radius or something in my neighborhood. So I think maybe, I've heard that certain areas are like different frequencies or whatever. So maybe there's like some kind of vortex there. I don't know. But while I was walking just a few blocks from where I heard that voice the first time, I was walking and uh, I heard my name, heard someone say Brooke. It's sounded so clear. And then a car honked and kept driving. I didn't recognize the car, but I thought, oh, it must be someone I know because they called my name. And then, like a minute later, I get a text, and it was one of my neighbors. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry if I scared you. I didn't mean, just honking to say hi." And and then I wrote back, "Oh, it's fine. I heard you call my name before, so it didn't scare me." And he was like, "I didn't call your name. I just honked." But I heard it. I heard that didn't sound like the first voice sounded like a computer. This one sounded like a person calling my name. I didn't necessarily recognize the voice, but it just sounded like someone saying Brooke. And so here's my understanding. This is what I believe. Please leave a comment if you have a different theory. I'd love to hear it. But this is what I believe. This is what I have come to understand because I've played around since then with ideas of telepathy and picking up that, what people are thinking, not like trying to read people's minds, but I played little games where, you do exercise where you tune in to people. And so what I believe is the first incident with the scooters, the guy, when I looked behind, when I turned around and he was like this, I think he was thinking, look behind you, right? He was focusing on me to have me turn around. And I think I heard his thoughts. And for whatever reason, it came out in that computerized voice because whatever my ability to translate it. And what's funny is since then, I actually saw I can't remember what, I was watching a YouTube video and someone described something like that, like hearing a computerized voice. And then I looked in the comments and there were other people that had had that experience. And, I chimed in. And I think that's interesting. I don't know why it comes out like that, but apparently I'm not the only one that's heard it like that. But I think I heard that guy, I think he was focused in such a way that I just translated the energy into what I could understand. Um, because he was looking right at me and he was like, well, I looked around, there was some interaction there. So, and the second one was someone that I know. And, I think he was thinking, Bro, oh, that's Brooke. And I just heard him. I heard him, right? I heard him think Brooke. And we already have a connection, but I don't think it clearly doesn't matter because the scooter kid, I don't know who know him at all. But I think both of those people, they were focused on me and I picked it up. And when I walk, I don't listen to any, I don't have like earphones in or anything. I just walk. And I used to do things like that. I used to listen to podcasts and whatever. And now when I go on a walk, I'm on a walk. I'm in the present. I take pictures a lot, but mostly I'm just enjoying the walk. I think that's so. A few of the people that I've talked to that have done the one-on-ones with me, they are they want to open up to this world. And in fact, I was even having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day too, who felt like she was very spiritual and why doesn't she have spiritual experiences? But like with her head is filled with so much stuff. And even the people that I've talked to, and it's understandable, there's so much noise in the world and there's so much entertainment. There's so many TV shows and movies and podcasts and videos and that's all fine. But if your head is constantly filled with other stuff, I think it's going to be harder to open up. You want to hear a voice? I promise it's not. It wasn't neither time it was creepy. It just Like it just sounded, I don't know, it just came through clear. Well, especially the one where I heard my name. I just really thought someone said my name, and kind of they did, I guess. But if you want these connections, I highly recommend being in the present moment. I'm so blessed to have this gift to take these pictures, but when I really started to take pictures and sell them, I've mentioned on here before, I think I did social media management and content creation, and I worked with companies. And so I started to really get into this style of photography of just, I worked with so many different businesses and just walking into their different locations and energies and just being with whatever their product was or their brick and mortar store, whatever. And I got really good at being with what was right in front of me and not, I've never really been into the kind of photography where it's very staged. I like very natural. And so, and then I started to do it also. Actually, maybe that came a little bit before I started to do it in the social media realm. But I would take a camera. Back in those days, I would take like a DSLR, a big camera, and take it with me on a walk. And it helped me let go of the chatter because then I would just focus on looking for things to take pictures of. Um, and so I used to like, if I would go on a walk, I would take like a podcast or something, right? And it's like I needed a distraction from the walk or like a music playlist. It's like I needed something to get me through the walk, which is kind of hilarious because the walk is the main event. Why would you need a distraction from the thing that you're actually doing? And so when I started to take pictures in this way, it got me really into the present moment. And then little by little, I just didn't bring headphones. I brought a camera. And then now I take everything with my phone. Um, and because it's so, I just have it with me. I don't go looking for a picture. I just always have a camera. So whenever the inspiration strikes, I'm ready. But because of this progression, I'm just constantly am where I am, if that makes sense, right? I'm not thinking about somewhere else I'd rather be. If I'm just staring at a tree, I'm staring at a tree. If it's pretty, I'll take a picture. If it's blowing in a certain way or whatever it is. And so now I'll go on walks like for hours, and that's it. I'm on the walk. That's the activity. I don't need something in my head distracting me from the thing that I'm doing. And I think this is important. Um, because there are so many distractions and things vying for our attention. And the beauty of life is showing up for you in your life, showing up in the present moment, showing up either if you're by yourself, just showing up and being with the moment, especially if you're with another person, being with them. And if you want to have mystical experiences, they're in the present moment. They're not happening when you're fixated on something else. And they're not happening when you're constantly having voices, not the kind of cool voices like I had that actually might give you information, but voices like, music or podcasts or whatever. And those things are fine. Like I would say if you're gonna watch, like for example, like the videos that I'm making, I thought about doing like editing and stuff, and then I thought, it just isn't, I don't really want to take the time to do that. And I also thought I want to just talk. And if someone doesn't have the attention span to listen, that's okay. But I don't think that's great. Like in the sense of, no judgment, but like I think it's important to be in the present moment and do what you're doing. be with, if you're watching this video, hopefully you're watching it and listening. And maybe you're, sometimes I'll listen while I do the dishes or something. That's an activity that doesn't require too much focus. And in fact, that's almost meditative. And so what you're listening to can come in. Um, and so there's certain things I think where it's you can have your sort of hypnotic activity and then you're receiving things. But really be really careful too what you're when you go into a hypnotic state, like when you're washing the dishes, be careful what you put in because that's going to go right into your consciousness. So make sure at least you're listening to really upbeat, positive things when you do that. Maybe that's a conversation for another time. But someone also asked me about meditation. And I think that meditation, I don't think it's necessary to be like meditating in order to have a mystical experience. But I think what meditation does is help you focus, help you learn how to focus yourself. And so if you have a lot of distractions and you're constantly have all this information going on and you don't know how to hone in on that present moment, having a meditation practice can really help you. And again, that will help you invite more into your world. So it's not necessary, but I think if you're not used to focusing yourself, so if you have a hard time focusing, start doing some kind of meditation. Anything really, just know that what the purpose of it is to train your brain to focus. Focus on the singular thing. And that's going to open up more for you. So I think that's it. Those are the only times I heard voices. I think it's really important if you want to have mystical experiences, if you want to have any kind of telepathy, all that kind of stuff, learn how to focus yourself. If you're constantly distracted, I don't think that's an environment where those kind of things are going to happen. I don't know. At least these things started to happen for me the more I got super focused on being present. And I would, just a suggestion, like now when I go on these walks, sometimes I think back to when I would like, I need to have like, oh, if I'm going to walk for half an hour or something, I have like a perfectly timed something to listen to because God forbid I was just walking without something to listen to or driving. Most of the time I drive in silence. But that's where you get your downloads. That's where I get so many ideas, solve problem, like things will just come. But I look at it like this beautiful experience. Like now when I think back to having to have these things to listen to like God forbid I'm bored or silent or something like that. Now I go on a walk and I'm looking at everything around and it's so beautiful. And not everything is even beautiful. Some things are, gross. I live in Los Angeles and I live like near Hollywood. It's a lot of homeless people and things like that. So not everything is like super pleasant to look at, but I'm in the moment. I'm with life, whatever comes up. And I'm with my body and I'm aware. Sometimes there's the pains or something that need attention. So I give attention or focus to those things. And sometimes, I can feel how vibrant and wow, everything feels so good in my body. So those kind of things, it's really nice. If you're not doing that, I would recommend just giving it a whirl, giving it a try. Maybe give it even just like, okay, I'm going to walk for half an hour. I'm going to spend 5 minutes without needing to look at my phone, needing to hear something, and just be, just be. Because like something like doing the dishes, although I would say even if you're doing the dishes, it is nice. Like if you could just be with doing the dishes, that's also a nice thing. The more you can just be in the present. But something like that's a little easier to use that as a meditation in a way. But with walking, like I think it's important to be present I'm just going to share something that I saw the other day because it was really upsetting, actually. I mean, I'm laughing because it was okay, but I think this is a good, maybe if you're not sure about like being present. Um, I saw a girl walking, so I was in my neighborhood, and the street I was on, it kind of like curves around. And there's a lot of like bushes and trees. And this girl was walking, she was had headphones and she was doing something on her phone. And she just walked out like she was sort of behind this big bush, and there was a car coming fast. And that car couldn't see her behind the bush. I'm on the other side of her, and I see her like just walk out in the street, didn't look, looking at her phone. The car slammed on its brake. I literally screamed, "Look out, look out, look out." But didn't hear me because she had her phone, or had headphones on. And I mean, I mean, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna see this girl get hit by a car. It was like just thinking about it was awful. And luckily that car stopped, and she realized the car stopped and just kind of was like, whoops. Or like, I don't think she realized how close she came to being severely injured, if not, worse. And I mean, I had to stand there for like a couple of minutes and like recover. I want to like run out and be like, wake up. Like, it was really wild. And I feel like we're getting to a place where you can either like go into the matrix or whatever, go plug yourself in and stop thinking for yourself completely, or get really present and aware and use your body, use your brain, be in the moment. When I'm on a walk, I'm on a walk. I'm moving my body, I'm looking around. When I'm driving, I'm driving. Your brain has to work so fast, it's exciting. Like I see all these self-driving cars. And look, if that's what you like, that's all right. Or maybe you're not great at driving or something. But think about the joy of using your brain and body, and all the things you can do with it, and the desire to be even better and better and more present in all these activities that they're like automating. This is like taking a lot of turns. But I wanted to share the stories about hearing the voices. I wanted to bring up this idea of like a few of the conversations I've had with some of you, it's about, you want these experiences but aren't having them. And I think that part of it is being more in the present moment and recognizing where you're tuning out or distracting yourself from what it is that's right in front of you. And I think the more you get present, the more you get calm, the more you get in that stillness, silence, and enjoy it, the more that's where the information is, the ether, whatever you want to call it. Like all of this is energy. And you can pick up on the information, but you got to let go of some of the information that's been flooding your brain and be aware. What information is swimming around in there? Do you want to keep vibing with that? You want to let it go? And I'm going to end this here because it's long, but I'm going to make another video about. I used to watch TV and movies. I worked in the movie business, as I mentioned in another video. And little by little, as I learned about how my brain works, how my brain and body work together, I just naturally stopped watching those things. And I want to tell you about it because I started to observe things play out in my reality, and it just was like a natural progression. So I'll make another video about that because I think it goes with this theme. And I want to help whoever wants it to have the experiences that they want. And I think a lot of it has to do with understanding where your focus is and how to purposely focus yourself. Okay, that's it for now. See you in the next video.